What is going on, everyone? It's Nero again. Today for you an episode of Dear Nero, a weekly series here on my channel where essentially you guys send me in fan mail, fan questions. I go ahead and answer them, give the best advice possible, and we're going to hop on into this week's episode very quickly. Usually I spend a long time covering on gameplay, but there's not a whole lot to actually cover with this gameplay. It's essentially just a domination match. I got plenty of subscribers. It's pretty good in terms of kills. I do die a little bit more than usual, but it's okay. It's a good Dear Nero game. So let's hop on this week's episode of Dear Nero. First question. He writes, Dear Nero. My girlfriend died in a car crash July 17, 2012, and every once in a while I will feel very depressed at school. My friends tell me I should just get over it and that I'm just trying to be an attention whore. Can you help me on what to do? She was my everything. We were dating for 2 years and best friends for 5 years before that. Kyle from South Carolina, missing Victoria Humphreys. Now, I actually remember hearing something about this. I don't know if it was on the news or what, but this was in South Carolina. Yeah, I remember something about hearing this. So I actually Googled her name, Victoria Humphreys, and not to sound like pedo, I guess, because I'm almost 21 and she was 16, but you know, she's a good-looking girl. She was very smart. She was a very intelligent girl, and apparently well-liked by everyone she ever met. Apparently she was just like this phenomenal person. And it's a horrible turn of events that she died in a car accident. Car accidents are probably one of the worst ways of dying, because you know it's always a really sudden death. It's always something you never expect. It's not like an illness. It's not like a sickness or something like that where you can expect someone to die. It's just you know, they were, you know, driving along and now they're gone. My uncle, actually, my cousin Nick's dad, he died in the year 2000, and he was in a car accident as well. And you know, car accidents are a horrible way to die. I mean, it's shitty, but if you think about it though, if I'm trying to give you the advice I have based upon my uncle dying in a car accident, for a while there it was rough, and obviously since it just happened in July, that's what, just over 3 months, it's still kind of fresh. It still hurts. It still stings a lot. And when people bring up you know, memories or stories of Victoria, then it probably, you know, brings up these feelings. It kind of makes you feel a little bit depressed and whatnot. But the same thing happened for my uncle. It did for a while now, but now he's been gone over 12 years now. And now, like, once we're at now we're at this point, whenever someone mentions my uncle, or anytime someone brings him up or shares a story about him, or we see something, or you know, that was his, or you know, it's never this feeling of sadness anymore. It's almost like he becomes this revered person that we all remember. We all look back and remember fondly, and you learn to cherish the time you had with that person rather than, you know, feel bad that they're not here anymore. And time does heal all wounds, but you'll eventually pass through it. Do I think you're being an attention whore? No, it's only been 3 months. There's been a couple people in my town that have died around my age, you know, be it somehow involved with a car. And for a while there, it's tough. It's tough, especially for the person that's dating that person. You know, there's 2 different people in my town that had that happen, and they were quite depressed for a while. But you know, they have gotten over it. Time does go, or life does go on. Time does heal all wounds. I think you'll be just fine, Kyle. Just give it time and appreciate the time you did have with her. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, I want to talk to you about true love and share my own story. I went to sleep one night looking at a picture of a girl I like a lot. I woke up the next morning with my favorite song playing and the picture of the girl on my phone, and the phone was laying on my heart. Is this a sign of either pure luck of the song being there, or God showing me his hand in my life and love? What I want to know is, what are your personal thoughts on true love? Sincerely, a longtime sub. P.S. Continue the great videos. Dear Nero has helped me personally multiple times. Thanks for all the hard work you continue to put out. Do I think there is true love in this world? No, I don't. I think you're just really infatuated with this girl, which is a cool thing. That's a fine thing, I guess. But do I think there's true love? I do not. True love is like the basis on which, you know, there's one person in this world for everybody. Now, if that makes sense, then why is it that people can be married for 50 or so years, and then when one of the, let's take your grandparents, for example. Let's say your grandparents are married for like 50 years, then your grandpa dies, and then all of a sudden, you know, like a couple months later, your grandma starts dating another man, right? You would think after 50 years of marriage, like, wow, that is true love for those two individuals, but no. Because what love is basically, you know, you find someone you're comfortable with, someone that interests you, someone you care about, someone that you're very compatible with, and it just works. It works between the two of you, and that's why those two people are together. But there are other people like that. I don't think there's one set person for everybody. If there was a such thing as true love, then there wouldn't be, like, how many of you have divorced parents? Which I know in this day and age, almost everybody's parents are divorced at this point. You look at them, when they initially had you, and they were initially married, chances are they thought they had true love. But now look at them, they're torn apart. So I don't think there's true love. I just think that you're really, really, really digging this girl, which is a cool thing. If if that's your thing, that's cool. But I don't think there's true love in the world. But then again, that's my opinion. You asked me my thoughts on true love, and that's my thoughts. If you think there is, I let anyone believe what they want to believe. It's almost like a religious question if you think about it. Like, you can believe what you believe, I'll believe what I believe, and everyone just be tolerant to each other. I guess that's kind of how this works. But those are my thoughts. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, what do you think about the suicide of Amanda Todd? From Alex. I made a whole video about suicide and depression. There is no excuse for suicide. I do not feel bad or feel pity for anyone who committed suicide. I understand a lot of shitty stuff happened to this girl, but I still feel bad for her for killing herself. I will say this though, I watched part of the video, not the entire thing, because I got tired of reading. She actually has a video up a week or 2 weeks or so before she committed suicide, basically explaining her story through flashcards and a video. And apparently, she was in 7th grade. She was in a web chat or whatever, and she, like with a webcam, and she apparently flashed people there. Well, somehow one of the guys got a picture or whatever. Then some guy got a hold of this picture. That guy was a complete douche burglar, and basically like said as his profile picture, and like sent it to like every person she's ever met in her life on Facebook and whatnot, and continued to harass her with it. That guy is the guy who should have killed himself. That guy's a fucking faggot. Next question. He writes, Dear Nero, I'm 13, I weigh over 200 pounds, and I'm on the verge of diabetes. I'm eating right, and I need some workout tips and motivation. I don't care if this is on Dear Nero or not, an answer would just be great. P.S. I love your videos, keep it up. Bryce from Florida. Bryce from Florida, you are 13, and you weigh over 200 pounds. Now, the problem with your question, sir, is you neglected to let me know how tall you are. I'm assuming you're somewhere along the lines of 5 feet tall, because 200 pounds is not a whole lot of weight unless you're very short. This is actually funny, right? So some kid said I have a fat voice, or I sound like I'm fat in one of my videos. So I wrote him back, I'm like, well, do you consider 6'3" and 130 pounds to be fat? Because if you see my setup video, you can tell I actually weighed myself in the setup video. I am 6'3" and I weigh 130 pounds. I am a skinny prick. And, and he's like, whoa, he's like, height has nothing to do with your weight, dumbass. Height has nothing to do with how fat you are. Well, it really does, okay? So you picture a 200-pound, a 5-foot tall, 200-pound person, okay? That person's probably pretty fat, but you picture a 6'3", 200-pound person, that guy's not going to be as fat because he has more area upon his body to distribute his weight, and that's why the person's skinnier. I think you're asking the wrong person completely if you're wondering about, working out and like being on the verge of eating right, because I eat McDonald's about 4 times a week and I weigh 130 pounds. I'm super skinny. Best tip for you is to get more exercise. That's probably the best thing you can do. You do not want diabetes when you're 13. That's probably not in your best interest, is to be a diabetic at the age of 13. How you cut that out? You cut out pop, you cut out sweets, you cut out that stuff. I mean, if you say you're eating right but you're continuing to gain weight, then you're doing something wrong, or there's something physically wrong with you and you need to discuss with your doctor. Does that make a lot of sense? I hope it made a lot of sense, because that is my answer. But this gameplay is quickly wrapping up here. I hope you guys all enjoy this week's episode of Dear Nero. Plenty of subscribers in this particular Black Ops gameplay, and I had a whole lot of fun doing it. Open lobbies are super duper fun to make Call of Duty interesting for me until Black Ops 2 comes out. Because at this point in the Call of Duty life cycle, in the Call of Duty calendar year, it is boring as hell to play Call of Duty. Anyone else knows that, man? I'm playing so much other stuff other than Call of Duty. Borderlands 2. Man, I'm going balls deep in some Borderlands 2 right now, but when I do play Call of Duty, if I play by myself, I'm bored out of my mind while I play it. I can't do it. It's like, no, it's so boring. I've done this all before. But when I'm doing an open lobby, off of Twitter, then it's actually pretty fun. It's pretty interesting to chat with you guys for a while. But the final score of 65 and 10 for me. Like I said, I died more than I usually do in some of my videos, but you can't argue with 65 kills. Stop trying to argue with 65 kills. That's a good amount of kills, especially on a map like this where a chopper gunner doesn't really do nothing. Right? Right. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed this week's episode of Dear Nero. And if you did, please rate the video. If you guys like your questions featured on next week's episode of Dear Nero, simply send me a personal message here on YouTube. The tagline read Dear Nero. I'll look through them all at the end of the week. If they're good, I'll feature them. Have a great day, guys.
I was banging 7-gram rocks, that's how I roll. I got one gear, go. Are you bipolar? I'm bipolar.